Hey everybody, this is Javi, and you are watching the Inner Child Collective, where you and your inner child heal for the better. Welcome and hello, and happy Friday. Today I am going to be doing the Inner Child Archetype reading, and I'm really looking forward to this message. So, if this message resonates with you in any way, shape, or form, by all means, click on that like button. You can also share, you can comment, and you can also subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss another video at all. Right? Um, these archetype readings come out every Friday, at any time. So just be ready for it, and let's go and let's get started. So um, the card that we have here is the Hermit. And so the light attribute is seek solitude to focus intently on inner life, serves personal creativity, but the shadow attribute is withdrawal from society out of fear or negative judgments of others and refusing to help those in need. And what I'm getting is that when you were a child, a lot of this is happening as an adult. This is not exactly as a child, but as an adult. And so for the most part, you keep away from people because of what happened to you as a child. I'm getting that when you were a child, I want to say around third or fourth grade or so, there was a lot of bullying, and you were really made fun of. Like, regardless of how you were, like, you were genuinely a loving individual, which is why you got the Lover's card right here. You're very much a loving individual, a very giving individual. You just by the end of the day, you are just one that wants to be accepted for who they are. What I'm getting though is that around the third or fourth grade, that's when the bullying started to come through, and you didn't get a lot of love and affection. You didn't get a lot of that acceptance. If anything, like, you were often made fun of or seen strange because of who you are. And so as a result, you became very much withdrawn and started staying to yourself. And I'm not just getting bullying on the playground or at school. I'm just feeling like you just felt understood even in your own home. Like, I just felt like there was a lot of, why are you so strange? Like, why is this person like this? I never raised you like this, that sort of energy. And so, like, you did not understand, like, why couldn't you be yourself? Why is their normal different or better than yours, right? And so you begin to withdraw around your teenage years, maybe like 13 or 14 years old, like even 12 years old, like starting there, you began to withdraw. And so a lot of the inner workings of your mind, you just kept to yourself. You didn't say anything. You didn't do anything in regards to, interacting with other people as much. And especially like during the period during your teenage years, where you just felt like no matter where you did or what you did, you just could not trust anybody wholeheartedly. You just couldn't just open yourself up, as far as what was going on with you. If there was any sort of abuse at home, you were very quiet about it. And there was a lot of introspection. A lot of introspection and a lot of inner wisdom that you were not aware of, that you did not, tap into, at least not entirely. And so what I'm getting from this is that when you were older, okay, you definitely, there was a time when you were opened up, you opened up to people to a certain extent, but something happened to where you could not trust anybody any longer. I'm getting this in your early 20s, that you really began to, early to mid 20s, when you really began to, we really began to not know who you were, in regards to what you liked or whatnot. There could be there's a lot of isolation. I'm getting there's a lot of isolation coming from you. There's a lot of isolation coming from those who are resonating with this message. You stay to yourself to this day. You have learned to stay to yourself because something told, a lot of life experiences have told you, especially during your childhood, that the world wasn't safe. The world is not safe. The world isn't safe for you. Okay? And it's not safe for people like you. You are also tired of being of service to people. And this is why you got the Lover's card right here. You're being asked, okay, to be of service to people. So let's be, let's see what the light attributes are. For lover, the lover's card, great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of something or someone. The shadow attribute, obsessive passion that harms others and self-destructive devotion. And so what I'm getting from this card is that, in fact, let's switch these around. So that's what I'm getting from here. Like, you grew up. Thank you. So that's where that was. That's where they're coming from. Thank you, Spirit. I was supposed to switch them around. What I'm getting from this is like the Lover's card. You're a very loving individual. You're a very kind individual. You're a very kind child, right? When you came into this world, you were very open and very honest, and you were like, you loved yourself, and you did not understand, why other people did not accept you. You didn't understand why you were considered so strange and not everyone else. And so what ended up happening is that you put yourself in a lot of situations, but you gave a lot of your power to those who did not see your power and who didn't see your worth, simply because you wished, right, to be accepted, and you wished to be accepted. So there was a lot of, especially when you were a child, there was a lot, I mean a lot of people pleasing. There was a lot of shrinking yourself or changing some parts of yourself in order to be accepted. Thank you, Spirit. Now this is all making sense. So what I'm getting here is that the Lover's card, this is how you were as a child. I'm getting like you were like maybe like 11 or 12 years old, just wanting acceptance. Definitely getting a strong emphasis around that time of wanting acceptance, between the ages of 9 and 11, right? There was a part of you that you just loved yourself. You knew that something about you was different. You knew that something about you was like, quote unquote, weird, but you were not accepted. So you hid that part of yourself. You hid that part of yourself, or attempted to hide that part of yourself, most of the time to no avail. And so you just went around you just did what everyone else said, did what everyone else did, in order to be accepted. So the ridicule and the lack of acceptance would just cease altogether, and people will realize your worth, and people will realize your strength and what you had to offer put to the table. I'm just getting a lot of heart chakra stuff, because there was a lot of hurt. There was a lot of hurt, and there's a lot of pain, because there was this lack of acceptance. This lack of acceptance. And so I'm getting that this is well into your early 20s, well into your later years as an adult, where you just went with the flow. You just went with everything that people did, regardless of how destructive it was. Okay, regardless of how destructive it was. I don't know whether or not there was like drug use. For some of you, there may have been drug use. There may be substance abuse, alcoholism, promiscuity, or like basically like sleeping around. Not just is because it's a bad thing, because there's nothing wrong with casual sex at all. But what I am getting is that this was just another way for you to get a lot of attention and love and acceptance. You used your body and you used your sexual power in a way that was very destructive, in order for you to be accepted. And I'm also getting to that sexual abuse played a huge part in this as well, for some of you. But basically what I'm getting is that it boils down to you using anything, and basically being a chameleon in order to be accepted for who you are. And so you were just very passionate and towards people, very loving towards people, but you did do a lot of self-destructive behavior, a lot of inappropriate behaviors that hurt people and cause harm, especially when it came to your sexual agency. I'm getting that there was a lot of us, and I'll put myself in that category, who like slept with somebody's boyfriend, or slept with somebody who was married, or slept with someone who was in a relationship, because we just wanted to be accepted. And there was a lot of inappropriate relationships as a result of this. And it's like there was a lot who felt like I'm just getting like there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt around this this behavior as well. So a lot of folks who have the lover archetype, you're very loving individuals. And I'm getting that a lot of us are loving individuals, but we did have there's a lot of unhealed trauma, and there's a lot of unhealed thoughts around those. I guess a lot of healing that has to happen, a lot of healing that has to happen, excuse me, in order for you to move forward and be with folks, who see you for who you are. And this is the time for us to, to see to look into our self-destructive behaviors, to look into parts of our past where we used our sexual agency and we used, what we considered our kindness in order to get over on people. Because there was a part of us that did that as well, right? And so and that stems from, this card came up because it stems from some childhood stuff in regards to not being accepted and not being loved for who we are, and not being revered and not being seen as powerful. And we're using our sexual agency in the future, and we're also using our kindness to get over on people at times, right? And what I mean by getting over on people, I mean manipulating people into, feeling a certain way about us, acting a certain way towards us in order for us to feel safe. Okay. Thank you, Spirit, for like switching that around, because I'm like, this don't make no sense. So that's why they were like, you know. Then we have the Hermit card. This stems from for some of us, this is well into our adulthood, because of being hurt and hurting other people, and that fear of hurting other people. Okay, we have a tendency to now stay to ourselves. Okay, this is well into our 30s, early, like mid to early 30s, late, and I'm getting like late 30s to late 40s as well. There was a lot of us who are still afraid of getting hurt and afraid of, just afraid of getting close to people. Okay, there was a time where we were using, despite all of our hang-ups, we were of service to people in some way, shape, or form. A lot of us were doing community work. A lot of us were doing some sort of volunteer work. And so we did care about other people. It's just that I'm definitely feeling that energy of manipulation, that feeling of manipulation, that feeling that in order for us to get what we need, we had to manipulate, okay, or to do something to basically cause some sort of harm, psychological harm to folks in order to get what we needed. Okay, a lot of us, as a result of that behavior, what I'm getting is that a lot of us don't want to. A lot of us who are in the hermit stage, a lot of us are in this hermit stage for a reason. For one, we're tired of we feel like people cannot be trusted at this point because of how we were treated, and we feel as if we put ourselves out there to be vulnerable, we will be hurt. I'm definitely getting that for this archetype. Well, into, even though this is for the inner child, this could happen within our inner child, during the period of our childhood as well. But what I am getting is that a lot of folks who fall into the lover category, we are fearful of other people because we fear judgment. We've already been judged enough as children. So what's happening is that we stay to ourselves to keep ourselves safe. We've opened up ourselves to people, and people in our minds have hurt us to the point where we're like, we're not doing this again, and we're fucking done. And so what's happening is that we keep to ourselves, and we are in our minds all the time. You understand? We are in our minds all the time. The light, at the same time, let's back up a little bit, because there's a light attribute here. And what I am getting, I'm getting the message to back up a little bit and talk about the fact that there is nothing wrong with staying by yourself. This is a time for us to do a lot of introspection and a lot of retrospection, because it gets us to know about ourselves. It gets us to know about ourselves and who we are as people. At the same time, we are also using this this period of isolation to stay away from people because, for one, we have a fear of being rejected again, which actually hinders the creative process, especially if we have a story to tell, right? Especially if we are being told by spirit or being led by spirit to tell our story of whatever of abuse or whatnot, or some sort of trauma that we have gone through, or whatever story we have in order to empower other people. Sometimes the creative process is hindered because we're staying by ourselves a little bit too much. But what I'm also getting to is that we have this significant fear. A lot of us who fall in the hermit category, because of how we were treated, and because of how we treated others when we were in the thick of our trauma or whatever we were going through when we were children or within our early 20s, we have this fear of doing it again. We have this fear of hurting someone else again, or being accused of hurting someone again, and we fear like deep down that those behaviors have not changed. So there are a lot of people who are like, I don't want to be accused of anything. I don't want to deal with that, so on and so forth. So we stay to ourselves. We just don't want to. And what I'm getting is that y'all don't want a reenactment. You do not want a reenactment of what y'all went through. And so you stay to yourself. You stay to yourself, which is unfortunate because there are what I'm getting is that a lot of people really do love you and want to be around you. But the anxiety of engaging in like certain behaviors is very strong in some of the folks and some of y'all. And so spirit is basically saying like y'all have adopted this hermit archetype in your adulthood, and it's because as children you were done wrong as children, and like in your teenage years and even in your early 20s. I'm getting a lot of you have been done wrong. A lot of you have been told in so many ways that the way you were is not okay. The way you were, and who you are, it's just not okay. And I'm just getting to that. A lot of you were a lot more spiritual and a lot more wise do you give yourself credit for. And so one of the reasons why you didn't fit in is because of your spirituality or your spiritual practices or your spiritual beliefs. Your spiritual ideologies did not jive with what you thought humans were supposed to look like or act like. So there was a part of you that felt like there was more to you than what people saw and what you presented to yourself. But you didn't know at the time what that looked like, and so like you got stuck in calling and just being in survival mode, so to speak. So yeah, I'm just getting like, ooh, there was a lot of turmoil in your early 20s. I'm very sorry. Spirit, what messages do you have for the inner child, for the collective's inner child? Is this it? You shuffle. What messages do you have for the collective's inner child? What messages do you have for the collective's inner child? All right, so a new day dawns. So what I'm getting here is that you are arriving. Your day is coming. And I don't mean that in a bad way. There's healing that is to happen. You are to realize that where it says a new day dawns here, that means that there are some new changes that are happening in your life. There are changes that are happening just simply because of the work you are doing. I'm not getting that, you just sat here, did nothing, and allowed the world to cheat you or to run you over. What I'm getting is that because of your bravery and because of the work that you're doing, to in order to heal, like the new day is coming to where like all this is going to come to light. There is no way that you're going to keep this story to yourself. All your stories, all your experiences, you're not meant to keep them to yourself. There's going to be people who are going to be upset, but there are going to be people who are like, damn, that's what really happened. I'm really sorry. There's going to be a lot of apologies that are going to be taking place because of what you said, because the truth is going to come to light. The truth is going to come to light. I'm just getting that you are not meant to be by yourself. You're not meant to be in the shadows. You're not meant to be this way. You're not meant to be afraid of people like this. It's because of that fear of judgment. You really do feel that the world is against you. And I'm not saying that everybody like loves you or anything like that, but not everybody hates you either. You're so used to being hated or feeling as if you're a burden to other people that you stay to yourself and you keep all these stories inside of you, right? You have nothing but stories. That's why I'm going to be real honest with you, that because despite all of what you went through, people know who you are because of. I'm just getting because you didn't. There was a time when you were not in the shadows. There was a time when you were not in the shadows. There was a time when you were actually out here doing for your community. There was a time when you were out here um, doing what you felt was right, for your community. It's just so happened that um, the world did not. You had these other things going on, and you were using. And I'm just getting that, despite the all your stuff that you were dealing with, all the things that you were dealing with. What I am getting is that you had a profound love for your community and a profound love for the world. And you felt like there was, and you only went away is because you became afraid of what you felt like something was going to happen to you, or you felt like someone was trying to get you, or you felt like someone was trying to talk down to you, and you felt like no matter where you went, people were not seeing you. People were not seeing you. So the new day is going to arrive where you are to do the work necessary to get up out of that situation, to get out of that mindset that somehow the world is after you. You have too many people counting on you, and I'm not just saying you're doing it for them. You are to do it for yourself, especially. You have too many, but I will say this: you have too many people with stories similar to yours. You have too many people counting on you to come through and speak your good word. The new day is coming to where I'm just getting like a lot of y'all are not going to be the same by the end of 2020. I know that everything's going on. I know there's a lot going on, but I'm talking about on a personal level. By the year 2020, I say around 2021, year 2022, like things are going to make sense for you. The year 2022 is going to be a profound time for a lot of people because your truth is going to be coming out. This is like 2020 is like the ground. You're laying the groundwork. You're laying down the groundwork for what you're supposed to be doing. Your inner child is coming out wanting to tell their story, and they're laying out the groundwork. And everything is slow right now because of all this going on. But by the year 2022, I'm getting that your story is going to be told, and you are not this hermit that you are. This hermit is no longer going to be your truth. It's not going to be the truth. I keep seeing the number 21. So look that number up to see how that is. I'm also going to know your fears. I'm getting is that as far as your fears, like you are to face your fears. You are to know your fears. I'm also getting also know about your attributes. Know about your fears, but also know about your attributes. Face your fears. I'm getting they're a lot less big than you think. They're not as big as you think. The reason why a lot of folks are the hermit, because their inner child has told them. I'm just getting that your inner child wants to come out, and your inner child is not as fearful of the world as you are. Your inner child is not as fearful of the world as you are. They're just not. Um, it's you, the adult, wanting to live in that fear, wishing to live in that fear, and your inner child is not wanting to. Are these supposed to be in spirit? Because these cards came out too. All right, I'm being told to use them, so let's go. So embrace the feminine. Embrace your feminine energy. For those who are, this is especially for, and it doesn't, regardless of your gender or gender expression. What I'm getting is that, and this is on, this is on YouTube. I'm sorry. It's not like this is monetized. I'm not in that big time yet. But basically, what I'm getting from this card is that this is a time for you to embrace your femininity. This is a time for you to be a lot softer, to nurture yourself, to have compassion for yourself, and to allow yourself to be vulnerable and allow yourself to be loved. Embrace your femininity, because we all have masculine and feminine energy. But what I'm getting, especially during this time, like around this time when this video is out, Aries is what was it? Mars is in retrograde, and that rules our passion, our aggression, our masculine energy. And what I'm getting from this card is that this is a time for you to embrace your femininity and allow yourself to be loved and allow yourself to just be a much softer, much gentler person, and to not be so aggressive and to allow things to be. This is not the time for you to fight your emotional state. This is not the time for you to fight your emotions at all. A lot of folks who have struggled with trauma or have been abused in some way, shape, or form, have been told that they are not good enough, who are told that they are not smart enough, or too much of something. We end up hiding bits of ourselves, especially, and then we become tough. We become more aggressive as a result of those. For the most part, we become more aggressive if we don't tap into that masculine energy altogether, and just like do everything we can to like not be vulnerable. And what I'm getting from this card, from the Embrace the Feminine card, I am getting that it's time for us to be vulnerable and to allow your inner child to be vulnerable as well. Allow your inner child to be themselves. Your inner child is very vulnerable. Your inner child is very loving and very kind and very gentle. That's why the Lover card came up. But life got in the way. Life got in the way. And so what ended up happening is that because life got in the way, and those unhealed emotions or unhealed those unhealed situations in regards to people, places, and situations, a lot of those unhealed feelings, a lot of those unheard stories, they're just living within you and just taking up space, and they're not paying rent. So now you're just automatically thinking that somehow you are at fault, because of who you are. Your inner child is not at fault. Your inner child is not at fault at all. Okay? So we all got have courage. Please know that you're not alone. Please know that you're not alone at all. Please note that that a lot of what you're feeling is that fear that you're feeling is is based on old tapes, is based on what is stored in your unconscious mind in regards to the self, is based on that fear of being made fun of and being ridiculed and misunderstood again. And because a lot of y'all have went through that in the seventh grade. I'm definitely getting in the seventh grade. Like, definitely during your teenage years, you felt very, very misunderstood, and you were made fun of as a result of that. Okay. A lot of people had issues with, like, back in those days. Um, but when you were in the seventh grade, you were made fun of because of hygiene, mostly, and like, especially when it came to your period, or if you got that, um, very much like it, like a lot of the ridicule was like, it has something to do with like something pertaining to your reproductive system, or like your vaginal, like any sort of vaginal, um like some virus you had. I'm just getting that a lot of that, um how, like, was about like your reproductive organs, or like your hygiene, based on any sort of like vaginal bacteria you may have had. So I'm definitely, some of y'all may have had like a bacterial, was it bacterial vaginosis, I think it's called. um I know I had it when I was growing up, so there are many other like factors that played into you being made fun of. But basically, you were being made fun of because of who you were as a person. Like, you were definitely seen as strange, by your peers around the seventh or eighth grade, and that really took a toll on you as a result. So there's still a part of you in your that's well into your adulthood, who's afraid of being made fun of, because maybe somebody will say you stink, maybe somebody will say that you're ugly, maybe someone will say that that you're strange, that you talk funny, act funny, so on and so forth. That's one of the reasons why you stay away from people. It's like middle school ridicule that you have been through. And so unfortunately, there are still some adults who still act this way, and you don't want to be a part of that. But also know that you're being told that you are being protected, that you are not alone. And there are really some people out here who really care for you. They really do care for you, and they really do love and cherish you. And they're just waiting on you to come through and just arrive. There's a lot of people who are waiting on you to arrive. They are counting on you to arrive. And what makes it so bad is like you have the capacity and the creativity to do so. It's just so happens that you are afraid. Um, you're afraid of ridicule. I'm just getting that spirit is with you. Your ancestors are with you. You are protected. Nobody is going to mess with you. Ain't nobody gonna fuck with you in any way, shape, or form. Because of just simply because of what you've done and what you've gone through. You're going to be you're definitely going to be protected, and your story is going to be very profound. That's exactly what I'm getting. I'm also, show that you care. Show that you care. Show your inner child that you really do care about them. This is a time for you to show your inner child that you care about them immensely. And one way to to show that care to your inner child is by letting them be them. I'm getting, allow them to be free. Allow them to be carefree. Okay, allow them to be carefree. Allow your inner child to be themselves and to be carefree. What do they like to do? Because not everything is about trauma and abuse. Not everything in our life is about trauma and abuse, right? What is it about, one thing about your childhood that you really enjoyed? What was it about your attitude or your neighborhood that you really liked? That you liked about yourself, your inner child? Because your inner child is a part of you. So what is it about your attitude and your attributes that you really enjoyed? What activity did you used to love? And do that activity with your inner child. Personally, I love reading bedtime stories. I love playing video games. On occasion, I watch cartoons because that's what I used to do when I was a child. Show your inner child that you are here for them. Another thing is to let your inner child tell their truth. Because we were just so quick to neglect our needs and our necessities, our basic needs, and which includes our emotions, which includes the stories behind those emotions, we have the tendency um, to just run away from those feelings. And so we're being told by our spirit team, at least I'm being told by our inner child, by my spirit team and our the inner child of the collective, or those who are meant to hear this message, that you are meant to allow your inner child to speak so they can tell their story. Okay? Because they're really wanting to be heard. They have too much going on. You're not the only creator. You're not the only creative one. Your inner child is just as creative. They're the ones who wanted to come through. They're no longer afraid. They're no longer afraid. They're waiting on you to allow them to. I'm just kidding, let them be. They're waiting on you to get it together, to be honest with you. And finally, what we got is heed the messengers. Again, this is about listening to spirit, listening to your own intuition, listening to the fact that your inner child will just, they want to be heard. They have a story to tell, and you are to tell them or show them that there is a world outside of trauma or abuse or any sort of neglect or abandonment that they have went through. That there is more to this life than that. There's more to this life than that. There's more to, their existence, and they're not meant to hide. Okay, they're not meant to hide. In fact, they're your messenger. They are the messenger. Your inner child is a messenger. They are the ones who are telling you in so many ways that they are here and they have a story to tell. It's just up to you to allow them to be out. It's up to you to allow them to be, it's up to you to allow them to be free. So you can get rid of so you can heal your version of the lover archetype. And also know that you were acting out of, if you were one of those folks who, if you were one of those people who manipulated out of mere survival, please know that you are not really like that. You were doing just that out of survival. You were doing what you were doing. I'm just getting like a lack of boundaries too. Like there was a lack of boundaries growing up, right? And so as a result of those lack of boundaries, I'm just getting a lot of judgmentalism. Like let go of the judgment, the self-judgment. And I'm getting that when you let go of the self-judgment, you won't be so quick to judge others, because there was a lot of judgmentalism. Getting you're being encouraged to let go of the self-judgment and allow yourself to make mistakes, and allow yourself to know that everything that you've done was out of mere survival, and you really don't do those behaviors or engage in those behaviors any longer. That's not who you were anyway. It's just that you did whatever you felt like you were doing everything you could necessary in order to be loved, in order to be cherished, and just felt like in order for you to do that, you had to, the person or people that you were around were to be the way you wish them to be in order for you to be safe. And I'm not making up any excuses. That's like a very manipulative behavior. But please know that that's not you, and that's not how you operate today. So you're being told to not only allow your inner child to heal, through you and vice versa. But to know that that you no longer are obligated to judge yourself so harshly, to think that's to think that you will never change, to the point where you are staying away from other people and either sabotaging relationships or not being in a relationship at all. So finally, oh wow, so we have a few. Hold on. So here's a word of encouragement. Dear higher spirit, what words of encouragement do you have for the collective in regards to their inner child? What words of encouragement do you have for the collective in regards to their inner child? And you have the eagle upside down. I'm being told to read the book here. Let's see what over here. Sorry to see my pajamas. So this is 16. Be sure to look up the number 16. So here is the meta. So here's the essence of the owl, the eagle. So eagle comes from the east, the place of the rising sun, of new beginnings. She soars high in the sky, sees the smallest detail with clarity, without losing track of the bigger picture, and nests in the high mountains. For eagle, there are no obstacles, only opportunities. She calls you to ascend, to acquire perspective, so you can fly wing to wing with great spirit. So because it's upside down, here's the medicine. So it is time to see through the eyes of the eagle. Let your vision of the whole and all of its parts become laser-like, and set your priorities straight. What did you come to do in this life? Did you come to climb up the ladder of financial or social success? Did you come to become a better person, to heal your heart, and to realize your essential self? What is your divine mission here on earth? No more excuses. Of course, you do not have enough time, enough money, or enough sleep. Yet the time is now to fly to your chosen purpose. If you postpone it, you are betraying yourself. Look through the eyes of ego and consider every obstacle an opportunity. Where you set your intention is where you'll end up. Free yourself and live your highest destiny. Fly. So basically, ego is saying, this is a time for you to allow your inner child to soar. When your inner child soars, you do. You are here to tell your story. You are here to heal. For those who are watching this video, the medicine here is allow yourself to heal. You're doing an awesome job, so far, right? But there's nothing to be afraid of there. So you still have some work to do. There is nothing to be afraid of. You're like those that you consider your enemies, those who are still living, who have done you wrong in some way, shape, or form. They are living their lives. They're not thinking about you. They're living their lives. They're living their lives. They are thriving. They're not doing. And for all you know, they cannot. They're not may not be doing as much work as you are. But here you are hiding. This is the time for us to no longer hide. This is the time for us to no longer be in the shadows, to be the hermit. You are not meant to be the hermit. You are not meant to be here hiding. You are here to serve your purpose. And your purpose, for those who are watching this video, is to heal and use your story in order to heal others. It's okay to study. It's okay to do what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. But what I am getting is that you are to also do the work necessary to decolonize your mind and to rid your mind, your subconscious mind, of those stories that tell you that you are not good enough to the point where you are to hide from people. You are unique, you are very special, you are divine in every way, shape, and form, and it's high time for you to no longer be the hermit to the point where you are taking yourself away from people. I'm getting that despite of what's happening, like sooner or later, you are to reach out to folks um, out in public, when the time comes, um, and really allow yourself to be known. I'm not saying like put your health at risk or anything like that, but what I am saying is that this is a time for us, for those who are getting this message, to be of service again, and not carry around this notion or this idea that because of some prior hurt, of a person that came from a person, place, or situation, that they're all like that. All right, I mean, especially people, that because one person type of person hurt you, and one person from a different group hurt you, then they're all like that. This is not, and because that is that blanket assumption is one of the reasons, it's an excuse you have used in order to stay away from people. And this is a time for you to be connected to people, but in order to be connected to other people, you have to be connected to your inner child first and foremost, so you can start to navigate through those old stories in order to dismantle them and just get rid of them altogether. So that is all I have for you this week. If you resonated with that message in any way, shape, or form, by all means, let me know in the comments. You can also subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss another video, and also click on the like button, and also share this video. The more people who know about me, the better, because the more people know about their inner child, the better. Also, if you follow me, or if you're on social media any way, shape, or form, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And also, if you like a more in-depth reading, inner child archetype reading, you can actually, book a private reading. By clicking on the description, clicking on the link in the description, the Calendly link, and you'll see everything, all my services. And if you work with Nikila Asha of Astral Scout Life Sculpting, I'm a resident psychic intuitive medium through her company, and I'm also working closely with her myself. So if you are working with her, or you're her client, by all means click on the link that will lead you to her page, and you'll be able to find me there as well. All right, so that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for accepting this archetype energy reading. I really appreciate it. Until next time, peace.